back to, say, I don't know, January or February, and ask yourself to define the differences or even the scope of the differences between all 5 teams in the National League Central Division. And I'm going to guess, this is only if you're being honest with yourself right now, you wouldn't have thought it'd be too great. Good morning to you. Good Thursday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports. This is Daily Shot of Pirates. It comes your way bright and early every weekday. If you're into football and or hockey, I also offer daily shots of Steelers and Penguins in the same place that you found this. Brewers 4, Pirates 2 yesterday in Milwaukee. The Crew taking 2 out of 3 in that series. Paul Skeens giving up 4 runs in as many innings. His outing limited to 78 pitches because, as Don Kelly would allow afterward, he's had a pretty significant workload to date, going deep in a lot of games of late, and they were going to stay tight with him regardless. Not that it matters, not that it ever matters, because your club had 4 whole hits in 31 at-bats, but hey, at least they struck out 13 times. And that leaves things pretty much the way they're meant to be at this point in the 2025 schedule. The Pirates are now 32-50, and at the 82-game point, just a hair over the formal halfway point, they're on a nice, comfortable pace to lose 100 games, or 98 or 99. Whereas, and herein lies my point for the morning, these are the records for the other 4 teams in the Central. The Cubs, of course, are in first place, 47-33. The Brewers, thanks to this little series, are 45-36 and just 2.5 games back. The Cardinals are 44-37, just 3.5 games back. And look at the Reds rising up. You know, the one team that usually kind of hangs around in the cellar to keep us company? Nope. 42-39, 3 games over 500, and with some of their young talent building up enough buzz that there's actually people populating Great American Ballpark these days. They are 5.5 games back of the Cubs, but 2.5 games out of the wild card. And then, you know, how did Brad put it playing Billy Bean in Moneyball? There's 30 feet of excrement, and then there's us. That's what this is. That's what this is. The plus 34 run differential that the Reds have, plus 33 for the Cardinals, plus 48 for the Brewers, plus 97 for the Cubs, and there are the Pirates at minus 68. This despite having the starting pitching that they have. Now, again, I'm going to task you with being true to your own memories of your own thoughts. But go back to this winter and tell me that you thought that all the rest of these teams were leaps and bounds better than the Pirates, or at least even potentially, back when Ben Cherington still had the opportunity to add a bat or 2 or 5. Back when it still wasn't proven, yet again, that he has absolutely nothing coming through the system offensively. No surprises, no emergences, no number 1 overall pick behind the plate, poking through, nothing, 0, nada, and this is what it looks like. To prepare for this episode, I bounced around a bit at some of the newspaper websites that cover these other 4 teams: Chicago Tribune, Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, St. Louis Post-Dispatch, and Cincinnati Enquirer. And the summation of what I read, and within that, what I sensed, there's real excitement. There's real excitement in all 4 of those markets. And the excitement could contribute to those teams adding at the deadline, which in turn creates more excitement. And it extends your season into August, maybe even into September, maybe even into that other month that comes after September. I don't know. I've been following the Pirates too long. And from there, those teams generate more revenue, more interest, and more hope. You probably hear me use that word a lot, maybe more than most sports commentators will. To me, it's the foundation of fandom. It's the foundation, from an economic sense, of their businesses, these teams. Most of your season ticket sales, in fact, almost all of them, occur in the off-season. What are you selling? Hope. Obviously, you've yet to play a game. When you sit down to tune in for the game that's being played that night just on television, you're sitting there based in large part on hope. You don't know what's going to happen, but you have hope. Hope that it'll be entertaining. Hope that your team will win. Hope that you'll feel good about yourself for having invested those 2.5 hours into your team. The 144-year-old Pittsburgh Baseball Club will have none of those things going on for the remainder of this season. The single most positive thing that can happen, plausibly here, not including a sale of the team, is that the general manager gets fired. And the owner won't even give you that. He won't even allow you to think about what it would be like if you had a GM heading into this coming draft, trade deadline. The trade deadline especially. He's instead going to have you holding your breath over whether pitching could be traded for hitting, and the person making the trade on the Pittsburgh side wouldn't know a hitter if the hitter walked up to him with a glowing red neon sign over his head. You don't even have that. Everybody else in the Central does. And it was only a few months ago that they were all seen, all 5 of these teams, to certain degrees, as peers. When we come back, J1Q. If you're looking for a great dining experience, look no further than North Shore Tavern. Located directly across Federal Street from PNC Park, next door to Mike's Beer Bar, North Shore Tavern is Pittsburgh's home for steak on a stone. Enjoy your steak finished on a hot lava stone in front of you, where you ensure each piece is cooked to exactly your liking. Or try their rotating selection of entrees, hot sandwiches, salads, and burgers, all while enjoying the ambiance dedicated to the great players and history of the Pittsburgh Pirates all around you. Come see why everyone's talking about North Shore Tavern and steak on a stone.
It's Gun Storage Check Week. Help prevent unwanted access to your firearms. No one wants their unsecured gun to be used in an accident, a suicide, or a crime. Use lockboxes, safes, and locks to secure your firearms. Learn more at gunstoragecheck.org. That's gunstoragecheck.org. Brought to you by NSSF, the Firearm Industry Trade Association.
Today's J1Q comes from Gunner, who says, "Hey DK, why haven't there been adjustments to Ke'Bryan Hayes' swing? The numbers show that his swing is steep, it lacks depth. That's why he struggles to elevate. The public has access to his batted ball and swing data. If the public can look at this and most definitely see what needs to be changed, why haven't the Pirates done anything yet?" Gunner, I wouldn't presume that the team hasn't weighed this data. The team hasn't attempted to apply this data. Ultimately, the bat is in the hands of the athlete. You can show him what he's doing wrong. You could put me in the box and show me what I'd be doing wrong. Doesn't mean I'd be able to fix it. So let's start there. From there, let's casually and easily support your stance about launch angle, which is what you're really getting at, and point out that in 293 plate appearances, Ke'Bryan has, sit down for this, 8 extra base hits. 8 out of 293 plate appearances. 2 home runs, 4 doubles, 2 triples. So he does still make contact. It tends to be very weak contact. And on those occasions when he does get into the ball, it tends to go level. This is not new. Anybody who's followed Key's career going back to the minor leagues knows that, well, the only difference between then and now is that he was really Not just hitting the ball hard, he was murdering the ball as a prospect. Only he would seldom do it in a way that would consistently put the ball over infielders' heads, which is what all of the modern analytics show that you should be doing. Hit it hard, but man, get it up into the air at least enough. And you're multiplying your chances that ball is going to find grass out there somewhere. Now, there have been a couple of extended occasions when Key would have success at the Pittsburgh level, and that would even involve some power, and he would get under the ball. He would elevate, but he would do so by pulling, which he just no longer does. And if you want to attach that to the chronic back issue, you're free to do that. He doesn't. If you'd rather attach that to just a general lack of aggressiveness at the plate, you can do that as well. He's deeply entrenched into that reputation at this point. And if you want to attach that to hitting coaches, you can do that as well. Everybody knows by now the story of how when John Nunnally was the hitting coach in Altoona, Nunnally gave Key some tips, and Key took off for the second half of the season. Ben Cherington found out about it and fired Nunnally, and Cherington is evil, and Nunnally still doesn't have a job, to my knowledge. But no one else has been able to succeed, regardless of which version, and I've heard multiple versions of that story, you happen to believe. Pirates, of course, have a lot of money tied up in Hayes over a lot of years. They also have very legitimately the best defensive player in baseball at any position. The metrics on this are beyond overwhelming, and he is still that, and he does save you runs, and he does come with value at that corner. And just imagine what he could be if he was just an ordinary hitter, just mediocre, par for the course, like a middle infielder. One would think that'd be something that the organization would press really hard to get done, regardless of where the instruction would come from, internally, externally, specially assigned individual superstar instruction, whatever it is. But then you'd have to have some other GM. I appreciate the question. I appreciate everybody listening to Daily Shot of Pirates. We're going to do another one of these tomorrow.